So, what are some of the traits that you might have if you are neurodivergent? I'm going to go through a list of traits, but these are going to be separate videos on each of these traits because I feel like they deserve an entire video describing exactly what they are. And I'm going to start with one that was the most obvious for me. And it's not super complex. So hopefully it'll be a fairly short video. Essentially, one of the first connecting ideas that I had with autism and the way that I perceive myself and the way that I interact with the world um, was sensory frustration or sensory overload. Now, I'm not like super sensitive to noise, for example, or super sensitive to um, large crowds. Although certainly when I was a baby, I had experienced um, more of an overwhelming feeling when I was in large crowds. I've since adapted, and I can handle being in a large crowd, and I think I owe part of that to my mom. She put me through a lot of different activities and events which required me to be in the public's eye. Some of them were the spelling bee and the public speaking events that I was a part of. So I was able to grow and utilize those as opportunities to become at least comfortable as a child with those scenarios. The one for me that stands out is sensory related to touch and related to feeling. I've been described as a princess, and that that feels kind of weird. It feels kind of I don't know, awkward, I guess, a little bit. What that means is, oh, another one, soft hands. A couple of guys would go up to me and be like, "Hey, you got soft hands, dude. Doesn't look like you've worked a day in your life." I absolutely hate getting wet on my hands or getting dirt or anything gross on my hands, and actually anywhere on my body for that matter. I cannot I cannot have wetness on my hands for very long. I will immediately try to dry them off with anything, a towel. I'll even re-wash my hands over and over again until there's no soap, there's no grime, there's nothing. My hands are clean, and they are. My hands are clean, and I have worked very hard jobs. I've actually got like oil on my hands. It made my hands so black, but I don't like getting dirty. I don't like getting wet. And it's not that I'm afraid of work. I will work, and I've worked in my life. Hard work even. There's just something that fires off in my brain. It's like, get this off of me fast. If somebody were to come up to me and put a sticker on my back, I would just like it's hard to control myself. Usually I go somewhere and immediately rip it off and just wash my hands again because I would have got some stickiness on my fingers. And sometimes with this type of reaction, I do have to put on a bit of a mask, and sometimes that mask happens um, without me realizing it because I've gotten used to it. But when I think about it, when I stop and think about it, I'm just like, I can't have this on my hand. I can't do it. So let's talk about that. How is that a gift? How is that even remotely close to a gift? You're just like, it's crawling on your brain to just do something about it. But it's water. Like I get water on my hands, and I'm freaking out inside. Now that is a reaction. That is a typical reaction for someone like me, for someone even maybe like you, if you've experienced this before. So what do you do with that? Well, I just want to explore that a little bit more. The feeling, the tactile. And maybe yours is sensory. Mine's tactile. I used to play piano. I actually would really love playing piano, and that's where that tactileness, that touch, would feel nice. It would feel smooth because my fingers weren't dirty, but my fingers were doing something active, and I feel like that brought a little bit more clarity to my hands, if that makes sense. And I feel like that might uh, be a clue that maybe the thing that drives us crazy, it's a sign that we need to be exercising that. We need to grow that. Now, obviously, I don't know if there's a day where I can go without that feeling of like I need to wash my hands, and that's perfectly fine because you don't need to get rid of it. It's the gift. It's telling you that your hands are important to you. What you do with your hands is important to you. So currently, I'm a graphics designer. I actually create graphics with my hands, and I find this to be very therapeutic and very life-giving to me because I am bringing purpose into my hands. So it's not about what I can't do. It's about what I can do. And that becomes the gift. Because now instead of focusing on the problem or the issue, I'm focusing on what I'm doing about it, how I'm growing, how I'm utilizing that. And that's the first trait that I wanted to talk about. And so I hope that maybe you've gotten a little bit out of this. Leave me a comment down below if you relate. I absolutely would love to hear that story. Excuse me. I'd love to hear that story. So yeah, I look forward to hearing from you.